this is the syllabus we have completed till now, right? So till now, we have completed like 15 or 20 questions. So very quickly, this is, let me just log in. First, let me know if you can hear my voice. Let me go and see on the chat. Can everyone hear me? If you can hear me, just say hello. You can hear me. Let me also know that if you can see my screen. So less audience. This is AZ204. So less audience. Okay. So here it is. All the things have been uploaded in this AZ204 exam preparation. So you can see here, look at this. This is the first lab. For example, this is the first lab we have taken, creating the virtual machine by using PowerShell, right? And here you can see this, that this number 1 is the first lab, right? Look at the second lab, Azure ASP.NET Core Diagnostics. So what I've done is all of these labs here match, with the videos out there, right? So remember that we have like approximately 13, 14 topics we have completed, and all the questions, with the proper explanation, I have put it out here, right? Now, very quickly, let us get started. In the last, I think the last topic, I talked about telemetry, right? And one of the things, what happened in, when we discussed about telemetry is that a lot of people, were confused with it. So we got like 4 or 5 emails, saying that this telemetry answer is confusing, right? So basically, if you remember, this was the question, and a lot of people said that this telemetry answer is confusing, right? So today, guys, what I will do is, I think the answer was confusing because if you remember, I showed the basic demo of telemetry. So I showed the basic demo of telemetry, but when it came to that parent-child relationship, I think that's where it got stuck up, right? So today I will just reiterate through this whole question. I will show one proper demo as well, and then we will try to understand it, right? So here's it. Just again, guys, we are repeating this telemetry session with the parent-child and the operation ID. So if you remember, this was a question, and a lot of people were confused with why you chose ID with the operation ID. So I get that point because I showed a very, very basic demo of telemetry, but I did not talk about the correlation between them properly because when I saw my video again, I found that the correlation was not explained, right? So first thing, very quickly for people out here, telemetry means what? You have, let us say, your application running out here, right? So this is an application running out here, and you want to go ahead and send telemetry information. Now, telemetry information is not just simple diagnostic. Please understand. If you go and if you see here, if you go and search for the word telemetry, in this telemetry, it is the collection of measurements at remote points and their automatic transmission and receiving for monitoring. So in other words, we are not only talking about a single application here, but you can have one application calling another application, right? And so those kind of information you want to track. So remember, when you say telemetry, it is not, I can say that telemetry is not instrumentation. So if you see, we have this ASP.NET Core logging and instrumentation. We are not talking about it. Telemetry means this app 1 is now calling app 2, right? So are these calls connected? So for example, here app 1 says, let's say he says start, and the app 2 says end. So I want to see a telemetry information where he says, okay, app 1 started the call, and these are the information. Then he called app 2, and this is the information, right? And the most important part is that these apps out here can be anything. This can be an MVC core application. This can be a function app, and then you can make a call to WCF, and you can go one step ahead. WCF will make a call to Oracle. Now here, if you say that this kind of information has to be tracked on Azure, it's not easy, right? So telemetry means information from remote data points, how they are connected, how they are correlated. I think that's again the other point out here. What is their correlation? Where did the error happen? What kind of information is sent, right? So that is what is telemetry. And what Azure has done is that all of these telemetry information, they have logged into something called as application insight. So in Azure, we have this application insight where all of this information is logged in, right? So what I will do is I will go ahead and I will use telemetry, right? So in my local out here, must be I can do like this. Let me see, or must be online. What I will do is let me do like this. Let me create an application one MVC core. Let me create an application two MVC core. From this app one MVC core, let me make a call to app two. And then I would like to see a correlated data between them in the application inside using telemetry, right? So I think in the previous class, what I did is I only just ran application one. So that's why, that answer was confusing, right? So today what I will do is I will create two application. I wanted to do this. Actually, I wanted to create this as an API. And from here, I wanted to make an Angular call, but that would be really, really a big demo, right? So I would just take MVC core. And what I would do is I will try to do a server.transfer. Simple. Server.transfer. So I'll just say, okay, when this index calls, he will just do a kind of a redirect or a server.transfer to app2. And then I just want to know app1 was called and then app2 was called, how they are correlated and so on, right? Okay. So, so here it is now. Let me go ahead. Let me use Visual Studio out here and very quickly. First thing, let me create on the portal. Let me go to the portal out here and let me create two app service. So let me go and create two app service out here. So very quickly, I'll just select an app service. Right. So the demo is, again, I'm repeating, the demo is two MVC core application, one MVC core application calls the other one, and we do a tracking, right? All this I will create in resource one, res one. So this is first one. Let's say this is Questpond app one. Very, very quickly, I'll do it. .NET 3.1, all this. Change the size. Let us use the free one. Use the free one, guys, the dev test F1 free one, right? Free one has something like, I think the free has 60 minutes day compute for free, right? You can see here. So go to dev test and ensure you select F1. All the F servers are free. The D ones, are the continuous one. The B ones are burst. So just make sure that when you select this S1 or standard one or a premium one, so these words out there, P, S, B1, just be very sure that what you're selecting, but F1 is free, F for free. So review create. So one I'm creating now here, which is Questpond app one, and another one I'll just create Questpond app two, right? So this is Questpond app one. Very quickly, another service, app service. I'll create, I'll just create it in the same resource group. So what happened? So in the same resource group, I'll select Questpond app 2, right? Central US, not a problem. But let's select the free one, all the things. And yes, it's 3.1, .NET Core, review and create. So I have created two applications. I've created two MVC Core app services out there, right? So there it is. So you can see at the right-hand side, one has already been created, the other is getting created, right? And what I'll do is in my Solution Explorer, let me go and create a new project here. This project will have two MVC Core applications. So this is app one. This is app telemetry. So that is app one. Telemetry. You want to go ahead and track remote informations from disparate systems. Right, so there it is. That is one which is getting created. This is the first application. Let's take the second application. So this is app one. I will host in that Questpond app one. This is the second one project. right. So this is app 2. Create. Nice. Okay, so do we have two ASP.NET Core applications, and we want to ensure that we track them in Application Insight. Application Insight is Microsoft Azure way of looking into that. How what are the metrics of every service we have out there? What are the logs? If you want to do a search, if you want to export it, if you want to go and see the graphs, etc. So Application Insight actually helps you to track everything what is happening inside your Azure service, right? Remember that, but your application should throw data to Application Insight. Application Insight tracks basic information, but if you say like, did I click the button? So those kind of information you have to actually send him saying that I want to log it, right? Now, very quickly, both of these app services which I've created for now, Questpond app 1 which I've created, you will see out here that they have Application Insight already. So you can see here, this is Questpond Application Insight, right? App 1's Insight. So if I go and search Application Insight category, just very quickly, if I search Application Insight category, you can see here, there are two Application Insight created. One is for Questpond app 1, right? This one, and another one is Questpond app 2. Now, step 1, whichever application wants to log telemetry information into Azure, right? The first thing, I think this I had talked in the previous class, but I need to do it now. You need to go ahead and in the app settings, you need to give the instrumentation key of that Application Insight. So for example, over here now, this is app 1. If this app 1 wants to log his values into that Application Insight, right? So he has to go and give this instrumentation key. And this instrumentation key, we get it from, for example, now, this is Questpond app 1. I will click on it. And in the overview, you will see that there is a instrumentation key. I'll just copy it. So that means that now, whenever this application does telemetry, it will get logged into this thing, right? And so in the same way, what I will do is for application 2 also, I will go ahead and paste the same key. Remember, you can point towards the same telemetry if you want. Means you don't have to create two application insights. If you think you want to point towards the same application insight, it's okay. You can just give the same key. But for now, I'm just keeping it different because normally what happens is I've seen is that developers create app services and automatically this application insight gets created and they start logging into that respective application insight, right? So let me create two application insight. And another thing which I would like to show here is that if you have two application insight and if there is a correlation, how do you find it? So app 1 goes and logs his things into Application Insight 1. App 2 goes and logs into Application Insight 2. Then I don't know how many application insight you have. So you would like to go and query saying that for this activity, tell me which relations are there, which WCF service was called, was any Oracle SQL Server or Oracle call made or not, right? So that's the whole key out here, right? So let us keep two application insights, C1DD1 and C12, right? Now, what I will do here is this is app 1 and app 1 will point towards app 2. So first thing, let us go to app 1 out here. So let's go to the controller. First thing, if you want to do telemetry, then the first thing what you need to do is you need to get the Microsoft Application Insight ASP.NET Core nugget, right? So I'm going to go very quickly and in my whole solution, I will install this nugget package. So browse, Control V. So that's the thing we need to install it, and I'll install it both. Means I will install it all over the project actually, because in both of them I need this application insight, right? So what I've done till now I have created my my app services. I have taken that application insight, I have put it into my app settings, and now I'm importing telemetry, and I want to say that, okay, this is where the button started to click. This is where the button started to end. This is where he exited from the application. This is where we had errors, right? So that's the next part. So guys, any questions still here? Any queries still here? Is application insight similar to logging? See, application insight is similar to logging, but remember that it helps you to track here the parent ID and so on. For example, in simple logging, what happens? First, in simple logging, let me take these questions here. In simple logging, it is application specific. Let me take this question here. Simple logging, simple instrumentation, it is only for that application. If you say now he is making a remote call and so on, then it's difficult, right? So your simple instrumentation, your in your MVC core, you had that, you know, system.diagnostics. That system.diagnostics is just local, right? But here now I'm talking about that, no, like I will send one request to that client, to that server. In the header, I will pass him some correlation ID, and then you start getting connected. These are different things, right? And second, if you look at this system.diagnostic, they log into their own what do you call, in their own, somebody can log into a file and somebody can log into SQL Server. Here, everything gets logged into application insight so that I can query everyone. I don't have to really say that, okay, this is the file, and then from here, this was the ID, so must be in SQL Server. Now we'll track what happened over there, right? Such kind of problem is not out here, right? No, so that's what, Viraj, is the whole goal. So here it is. To track telemetry, we need one application insight, right? If you have different, then telemetry cannot be. No, you can. See, at the end of the day, all of these telemetry informations are sent to application insight. So you can query application insight. Please note, everything goes and logs into application insight. This is the application insight. So I can go and I can search here. And when I search here, you know, this, for example, currently we don't have any logs out here, but if we had any logs, I can go and I can search. Like, for example, you can see I have the search out here. And in that search, I can go and I can select multiple multiple application insight, right? So we'll see that. But yes, you can go and you can search through many application insight, right? Application insight and telemetry are not connected. In application insight, any kind of information can go in. Somebody can just log hi, and somebody can log errors, right? And somebody can log telemetry information. Application insight, you can think about, it is like a log, a big polished dump, which is there in Azure, which you can query, which you can do smart detection, which you can do live metrics on. So application insight and telemetry are not directly connected as such, right? Okay. So for multiple transaction system, for example, ATM service, we are withdrawing, could it be useful? Yes. So so Mani, don't think from the ATM service, but think from the Azure point of view, because this application insight is frankly very much tied up with Azure. So in Azure, what can happen is, you have an MVC core application. He is calling a function app. That function app is calling SQL Server. This SQL Server value is getting into one queue. Now, all of these are different system, and must be from the queue some Docker is picking up. Think about it. So what all of these guys can do is they can start sending that telemetry information. Everybody will send that telemetry information into application insight, telemetry. And then I can say, okay, like, so here is a call, from this call and to this call. Let's say there is a call here. Let's say this call number is, you always have a GUID number, is 1001. So 1001 was called here. This is 1002 call, but his parent is 1001. This is 1003 call. His parent is 1002. Now what can happen is, when I go into application insight, I can say 1001 called 1002 and he called 1003. So in 1001, I have these data. In 1002, I have this kind of data. in one. So I can have a kind of a full uh, look into it, saying that, okay, how every call went. And again, all of these are online on Azure and with disparate systems. So more than the ATM service, Azure is used, this application insight is used from the point of view of Azure. uh, can we use application insight in your local Windows? No, you can't. You can't use application insight into your local Windows. So that's the sad part. It's only available in Azure. Okay, so I'll just accept it. So here it is. I have added telemetry into our application. Now, in order to enable telemetry in your MVC core, you have to go and in your startup, you have to say services.insight telemetry. That's it, one line of code. So what I will do is, in both of these guys, I'll go and I will put in the startup. We can start with application 1. So I'll say that, okay, enable telemetry. And just ensure that you get all the namespaces, because, oh no, errors, why? I thought it will give me errors. So here also in the startup.cs, let me build it. How didn't I should have got an error? I did not reference the namespace at the top. Let's see. Okay. I was expecting some namespace to be put at the top. It's not there. Fine. It's working. It is good. Now, if you want to access telemetry, so for example, in application 1, I want to go and access telemetry. What I can do is I can go here and I can access the telemetry client. So I can access the telemetry client, something like this, right? Through dependency injection. So I don't have to create an object as such. I can just access the telemetry client like this. So what I'll do is I'll just create a private telemetry client like _t, and I'll just assign it. Now I can use this object and I can start writing logs. I can start writing errors, and those all will get pushed to application insight, right? So for example, in this index out here, I'll say _t dot. We can now go and we can create, how do you say, a kind of an event, so I'll say a t.track event. Let's say this is an event which says app1 index start. But we can give some date and time so that we know that where the problem is. So now if you see here, when this index runs, by using telemetry, he will just push an information into application log out here. So what I'll do is, let me go and host app1. Let's see that, can we see this information out there or not, right? So I will just save this and let me go and publish this. So I'm going to go and publish this on Azure. Now, very, very quickly, we have created 2 app services out there. So one is app1 and one is app2. So let's push this in app1. So I'm going to go and push this in Questpond app1, right? And the other one will push in app2, right? So let's first check this app1 out here. So guys, very, very easy, just to iterate what we have done. Point number 1, we talked about the definition of telemetry. Second, we created a simple MVC core application, and we referred the namespace, for telemetry. In our startup.cs file, I went ahead and I added telemetry, and then I used dependency injection, got access to the telemetry client, and I said log the event. And yes, you also need to put that key, the instrumentation key, into your app settings.json, right? I can see one question out here. What's the difference between debugging and instrumentation and telemetry? So, and profiling. Okay, so you don't need to send me private message. You can always send me message directly on the global chat so that everyone can see it. So I'll come to that question. The difference between, what do you mean by debugging? What do you mean by tracing / instrumentation? And what do you mean by telemetry, right? But very quickly, now that you can see our application is running out here, you can see now when I refresh this application, what happens is this application, this MVC core application, you can see here now MVC core application is running on questpond.app1.azurewebsites.net, right? So here now in the index page, means this runs the index page only, right? I have set this app1 index start, right? And I did it approximately at 9:25. You can see my clock at the right hand side. I did it at like 21:25 must be, or must be 26. Must be, I'm 1 minute I'm speaking till now, right? So let us go now to our Questpond app one application insight, and let us go to search. So that's the easiest way to go and get telemetry. So I'll just go to search out here. I'll refresh and let us see. You can see now it takes a bit time for this application insight to come in, must be a 1 minute or something. So here I should get saying that at 9:20 whatever and 26 this event happened. So just let's try to refresh. Oh, it's taking time. Desperate. Okay, we will wait for a minute. I will wait for a minute very quickly. Until that, I'll just go ahead and explain that question, that answer for the question. See, when you say debugging means you are using Visual Studio or you're using some tool, you have the source code with you. When you say instrumentation and tracing, that means you are on production. You are on production, you don't have access to source code, and you want to say that, okay, did this button click or not? So for that, you have to use system.diagnostic in MVC or do such kind of a thing, what we have said here. Now this tracing and information is related to a single application. If you say now you want to go and say that one application is calling over the internet, another application, then comes telemetry. So one is like pure debugging, right? Which is Visual Studio and whatever tools you use. Second one is in production. Third one is we are talking about like multiple disparate applications and so on, right? So all the terminologies are different. So let's see now, I hope. Okay, there it is. First thing you will see that there are 10 requests. Please note why there are 10 requests, because these requests are like, you can see here, some kind of a favicon icon. Actually, it's only one request, frankly. So we can just go and check this. First thing you will see here, a simple request is like this: request to questpond.app1.azurewebsites.net, right? This is a custom event. This custom event is an event which I wrote manually out here, and I said like app1 index start. So this says that this is the event which you wrote into your application, right? So this is the event out here. We can, when we click on it, we can see details out here saying that you can see here there were two requests. So one is request and another one is custom event. This one was, he has tracked, by default he's tracking all the get and post and so on, right? And this one is your event which you wrote like dot trace right or whatever, right? Okay, so that was a very simple thing out here. Any questions still here about the basic telemetry? This was a basic telemetry. Can we enable telemetry for .NET framework? Yes, you can. We have the namespace for .NET framework. Also, we have the component to do telemetry. Right. So any questions, guys? Any queries? There is a nice question here. How much such features are there in Azure? A lot of features, guys. A lot of features. Like it's a sea out there. It is a sea. It is a sea. Okay. Now let's talk about that question, correlation. So I'm going to go to the question. First thing, okay, let's go to the question first, and then some of our friends are already giving AZ204. So 2 or 3 people requested me this answer, and I said like, okay, we can revise it, because I can understand that when you go to an exam and you get frustrated with that question, right? Remember, this telemetry has 2 tweaks. So some of our friends were saying that because you took the single one, we were not able to answer it. I don't know, in the previous class, I think I discussed this answer as well, but must be a demo can impinge in your head. And remember, guys, my goal here is to not make you AZ204 certified. I am really not interested in that. My interest here is to really show you telemetry, really show you how to log things, really show you a demo. And so must be my answers can be wrong also. If it is wrong, it is wrong. But from the practical point of view. So here it is. This question is related to correlation. So must be that day I did not show a demo of correlation. Look at this question. I'm sorry, I'm having this cough and I can't get rid of drinking cold water. It's very infatuating. You are developing an ASP.NET Core application, web API service. This API service makes a call to SQL Server. The web service uses Azure Application Insight for all telemetry and dependency tracking, right? So you want to ensure that all the calls to the third-party database, remember he has explicitly said here, other than SQL Server. So he says that this can be Oracle also, it can be Postgre also. And once Postgre or Oracle starts running on Azure, they have an application insight. So we don't have to worry, right? So Microsoft wants to tell you that think beyond SQL Server and Oracle. He wants to convey the message to you that this Azure is not really dependent on, like, is it an Oracle or SQL Server, right? And application insight also. So from here he says that what kind of property you will take and do, right? Okay. Now, first thing, the answer is B and D, right? The answer is B and D. Let me show you a demo. So what I'll do now is I will not do SQL Server or Oracle because that would be a big demo, but I have created app 1. From app 1, I will redirect to app 2. And in app 2, we will go and we will see the dependency saying that, okay, app 1 was called and then app 2 was called by app 1, right? So we'll try to do the correlation and check it out, right? So here it is. So here is, this is app 1. This is app 1, right? Let's look at app 2. So what I'll do is from app 1, I will redirect to app 2. Now our app 2 in Azure is out here. So this is our app 2. So I will do a server.transfer must be. I can, we can just make it easy. So app services, correspond app 2. From correspond app 1, it will go to correspond app 2. So that's to this, right? So what I will do is in the correspond app 1, that means here, I will redirect. So redirect to this URL. Look at this. Correspond app 1, it will be calling correspond app 2, right? So correspond app 1, and this is correspond app 2. And in correspond app 2 also, we have enabled telemetry. Only in the controllers, we need to just go and put this code so that we get the telemetry access. So here I'll just copy paste this. Home controller, correspond app 2. So here also I go ahead and I enable telemetry, right? So that's telemetry out there. You should be very careful while you're copy pasting. And we have to refer the namespaces, no problem, right? Good. Both the applications have telemetry, right? So it comes here, it will hit this index. Once it does a redirect from here, it will come to this index, right? Now let's understand how the correlations are connected, right? Now this object out here is the telemetry client. So if you see this object, we have, if you go and see underscore T dot, it has a context. Inside the context, there is something called as an operation. And here we have something called as an operation ID. There is an operation ID inside this, right? Now, there are two things. One is there is an ID and there is an operation ID. There is an ID and there's an operation ID. So if you look at this question out here, let me again go back to the question. So this telemetry object, what you have has an operation.id and has an ID. Now, if you have a request, let's see both of these properties, how they are different. All the answers are wrong. So forget about that. All the other answers are wrong. So these two are the answers, but then we need to understand that how they are working, right? So one is just the telemetry.id, and another one is the operation.id. Now let us say that you are making a call from, as we are doing it now, from app 1 to app 2, right? The first thing is, how are they connected, right? First thing, both of these applications will have their own request ID. This guy will have his own request ID, must be whatever 1001. This person will have his own request ID 1002. But both of them will have an operation ID, right? If they are belonging to the common dependency, then the operation ID of both of them will be common, like 1004. So this operation ID is nothing but the parent, and ID is related to the per request. So the operation ID says, are they both correlated? Because of this operation ID, the correlation happens, right? Very quickly, I'm sorry. Over here, this is in the document I published, I've also published the URL of MSDN, the docs. So okay, so very quickly, if you see here, look at this. This is a sample code out here, which is explained by by them. So let me show you easy one. Let me show you Q. Yeah, that's easy one. Look at this. Telemetry.id means your current one. Context.operation ID means the root ID. Please don't take this parent ID like parent ID, not that parent ID. Yeah? Parent ID means his parent ID. Remember that inside this request also, he can call many other requests. Please understand. For example, our index at this moment, when the index gets called, he's calling jQuery.js. He's calling a lot of, so this parent is from that perspective. The root means that two of them are from different request, from different activity, right? So don't take this parent as like parent, right? So this correlation is defined by this root ID out here, right? So now what we will do is, let us go back. Let us see the demo. So once you see the demo, you'll understand it. So I will first, this is our first request, which is coming from here. This is where the whole action starts, right? So here first, I will start an activity. An activity is like this, you can see here, this is an activity. So let me give a name to this activity. Remember, when you're doing tracing, you can say there are lots of activities. This button is clicked, somebody did a lost focus, the database just got added, the request was sent to the database, right? This is one activity. Then something was deleted from the data. You can have a lot of activity and you would like to do activity differently. So for example, now let us say this is our start activity. App 1 start activity, right? And I'll just say here, index start of app 1. Now, this app start activity, if you see, this is where I'm saying that I want that one activity has started, because look at this. When you visualize a call, when we visualize any kind of a call, it's going to be an activity. Please understand. So for example, somebody says, this is a website. This website calls, let's say a payment gateway. Let's say if it is inside Azure, right? So now this is an activity. You will say that, okay, I'm starting on buy activity. So buy activity is here, then it happens here, then it happens here. So you would like to track, or you'll say like, I'm targeting a sale activity, or I'm targeting a button one click activity. So the activity indicates that there is some kind of a sequence which you want to track in this whole telemetry thing, right? And if you look at this activity, you will see that there is an ID. There is an ID. This ID is specific to this activity. And you will also see that there is an what you call a parent ID, which is related to again to this activity, right? So now very quickly for this thing, I will I will take this. So let's see what kind of code we can write. Uh, I will take this ID. Let us do this. So this is the application start activity. And remember, this application to be started, we need to go and say here, like, for example, let me run this. We can always go and run MVC core directly from our local host, right? Let me try to run this. So look at this. I will run this. This is out here, right? I think app 1. So I'll run this. Remember, we already have the instrumentation key locally. So from local, I can always hit to the application inside. So I won't get any errors because the key is pointing to Azure's this one, right? But I want to show you something here. So when I just start an activity, the ID does not get created at that time. When I create, I say, okay, this is a new activity of telemetry and I want to start it. So you can see out here, this is a new activity object I'm creating. You will see that this app start activity, this ID is null. I again repeat, this ID is null. So what we need to do is we need to tell to our telemetry. Remember, this telemetry client is different. This telemetry client is a global object, which is now running for this context, right? It's kind of a global logger at this moment, right? And here you have started a, so you have to say here, telemetry client, please start this activity, please end this activity, right? So we need to go and say here, start operation of this telemetry. So of this app start activity, start the operation, right? This request telemetry is again here. So now if you see, once you start the operation, then only the ID gets created. This is very important, guys, because that's what that AZ204, they keep asking what is an ID, should I start or not, right? Too much code level questions are there in AZ204. And also definitely from your development perspective, it's important. So you can see now, this is start operation out here. Now the ID will be generated. If you see out here, there is a 32-bit GUID or whatever, 64-bit GUID of the operation which is there, right? So that means that when this app start activity will start out here, this will actually start this activity here, right? And also remember, in order to complete the operation, so this is the operation which has started, you have to say _t dot stop the operation. So stop this operation or else the logging will not take place, right? Look at this. I'm stopping this operation. Yeah, that's stopping the operation or else it will not log it into your application insight, right? Now what I will do is when I call correspond app 2, now this correspond app 2 at this moment is MVC core. There are lots of ways I can pass him data. But let us say that you are passing it to a WCF service, you are passing it to a SQL server, you are passing it to Java. Then at that time, you need to really define that how you want to pass your data, right? So one thing which I would really want to do here is that this ID, what is generated, this ID I want to pass to correspond app 2, because there he has to link and say that this is my dependent request. He has to link and say that this is my dependent request. See, remember here, this linking part is the part of the developer. The linking part is a part of the developer. It is not of Azure. Azure just connects them and shows you in a nice graph out there. And he cannot connect, because how can he connect Postgres ID with MVC core? The developer has to say it, right? So what I will do is, here is via the query string for now, I will pass this ID. This one, what is it? This app start activity dot ID, I will pass it. And this ID will become the parent of the ID of the second app 2, right? So remember, I'm starting an activity out here, and then in the other end also, I need to go and start another activity and link both of them, right? So I'm going to go to the other one out here, app 2, index 1. So here now, we can say this is an end activity. Actually, normally people say this is a dependent activity, but fine, we'll say this is the end activity. right? Index ends of app2, right? Now here, uh, yes, we have to start the operation. That's one thing, the end activity operation saying that this is now going to finish and so on, right? But we need to say here that this end activities context. So very quickly, now we have to start linking. We need to link it. So we have to say over there that this end activities parent ID. So end activity, I can also do it like set parent ID. So I'll set parent ID to what? To the ID which is coming from there. So to the ID which is coming from there. Also, what you can do is you can also say like this. There are two ways of doing it. You can say context dot operation dot ID and you give that ID which is coming from there, right? So let me do this, where ID which is coming from that app1 is http context dot request dot query. It's a query string, right? So I can just say ID out here, right? Good. And this is the ID which will get passed to him. What is it? I capital, right? So you can either make it just the whole global object to be ID, or you can also pass it here. Then this also becomes an ID, right? So look at this. From that side, I passed ID, and here I set the operation.id. So that's why the answer is, just first let me tell you the answer. By using telemetry ID, we get the current requests running ID. And by using this operation ID, we define the correlation. So the answer is B and D. Please note, right? So that's what should the answer is. Also, so one of the things which our friend said is that they saw the parent. So this set parent, yes, that also can be the answer. Yes. So they did not see this context dot operation ID. That's why I have to take this whole lecture, because 3 of our developers had messaged me, sir, we did not see operation.id. Then you must have seen the set parent ID, right? So just try to see that, how the answer matches properly, because there are numerous ways of doing it, right? You know what, and I did not like this question. This question is so code based. What are they expecting? I'm not sure. They can just say that, can we relate to this one, this and this, right? I can understand actually. If you see out here, well, I'm not blaming them, because that's, if you look at the answer, it cannot be a cloud role instance. So it's, they don't want you to byheart the code. It cannot be name, because name can be same, and session ID is related more towards current session and not across, right? So even if you logically think about it, you will know that that is ID and parent ID, or ID and operation ID. So they know that, that at least if the developer just looks, if he does not know the exact syntax also, he should be able to relate the answer. But I'm just saying that this is too code specific. So just see that you either get ID and parent ID or ID and operation ID, right? Now let's go here and let us see. Now what I'll do is, rather than hosting it online, I will just run it offline. I will run it offline, and all the data will be logged into application inside only, right? At the end of the day, from my local, everything will be logged online only, right? So there we can then go and see the relation, right? So I'll run everything offline. So what I'll do is, I'll go to my solution and I will run everything from offline, and let us see what happens. So multiple startup, app1 and app2, both of them will start. The only thing is that app1 and app2, what is the problem? Okay. Start. I will do a response dot redirect to my local host. So that's the only code I want to change. Now, damn it, who is app1, who is app2? So I guess this is the second guy, so he must be app 2. Respond or redirect to localhost 443382. So let me do this. So I'll just say that. Remember, all the telemetry information will be logged online only. Guys, let me see. Okay. So there it is. I'm running. Remember, I'm running offline, but everything is online out there. 44382 and so right. So here it is. This is the application ID which is going out here. Also, we need to go and put a debug point into that home controller. So it is there. So this kicks off him. Now you can see here, the second one is out here. From the context, I extract the ID. So you can see this is the ID which is extracted from the query string. Look at it. To do the correlation, I've extracted the ID. I set it to the context, set the parent ID, start this end activity and end the operation and finish my things. 2152, this operation has been finished, right? Let us go and now see how this thing looks into application insight. So very quickly, guys, I'll just say, for your understanding, operation ID groups all the requests together. That says that there is a correlation, and the current ID is the current request ID for every activity you start, .id, right? So guys, any questions out here? Remember 2152 was the time when I did it, right? All right, so why are we explicitly making equal? Depends, activities should have the same operation. Okay, let me see, a lot of questions out there. We can see the published for application insight is application insight chargeable. Yes, application insight is chargeable. Guys, let me take every question out there. Why are we explicitly making it equal? Depend activity should have the same operation ID. No, that's what I was saying, Pallavi. Very good question. It does not do automatically. It cannot. It cannot do automatically. Think about it. This is MVC core, right? MVC core can make a call to WCF, or must be it can make a call to Java. So how does now Java know how to extract your session ID and operation ID? So you need to pass the correlation ID or else it will not work, right? So you have to pass the parent ID explicitly to say that all of them belong to the same unit. You have to do that. Okay. I guess it should be logged. So that will be logged. Don't worry. This will be logged. We will see this value. This will be logged. Was it just done for example or no? In the actual scenario, no, Pallavi. In the actual scenario, you have to set it. Again, I'm repeating the same thing that we are talking about in Azure. All the technologies are not same. So it is not that everybody will pass the same way, right? The data. So the ID has to be part. Application insight is not any kind of a big bomb out there. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's just a login thing. So you are the developer who has to connect it, right? That's why in the exam they have said set parent ID or set operation ID, right? How can we correlate web app to Azure services which are running Visual Studio? How can we link X web app calls and logic apps? Okay. Okay. So I can see a lot of questions out there, guys. Let us go ahead and let us see what do we see out there in our. So what we will do is we will go into application insight of Questpond app 2. Oh, yeah, over here, right? Application insight. Remember, I ran locally, but I logged application insight online. So Questpond app 2, 2152. I hope in 3 minutes they refresh the whole thing. So search this. So refresh. Okay, 2152. Index ends of app 2. Index ends of app 2. So if you see first thing, let's do a show all. Hang on. This is request. Okay, let's, what is the time? 9:52, that's the right time. Now look at this. Let me do a show all out here first thing. You can see out here our operation ID. Look at this. We have an operation ID out here, operation ID, right? What I will do is let me go and let me search. So let me put in the search out here, this operation ID, and let me search it across the request. You can see here I have this two thing out here. So let me go out here and add. Oh, where is that? I want to search over here. For example, now what happens is you can see, I can see these two requests out here. If I go to Questpond app one, definitely I will find, I should find the connection of those requests, but I wanted to do the search globally so that I can see both of them. Here also you can see this is a custom event which is there, and they are having the same operation ID out here. So this is the index start of the app one with the same kind of an operation ID, and from here that got called, right? Hey, where is the search? Somewhere I can go and I can select. Where is that? Not able to locate. There was a search out here where I can go and I can just select everything. Why I'm not seeing it now? Means here now what I did is I searched in Questmond app one, then I searched in Questmond app two, right? I can search. Is it like this? No. Okay, somewhere we need to go and figure that out. But there is a way to go and search globally as well. So bad of me. Search. You can see search an example operation ID. But you can see I can search with a lot of things out there. Okay, guys, I am not able to locate where to search in a joint way, right? Okay, now let me go back to this request out here. So if you see this request, if you see show all out here, you will see that again, you can see a lot of properties. You can see the request ID, right? You can see the operation ID, which connects them. And you will see that this parent ID out here, which is his own ID, right? It is his own ID. So if you say correlation, then this is the way you will actually see. Actually, you know what? This is not really seen nicely. Huh? There is really some problem out here. This, something is wrong, because I'll tell you what. This view should not be like this. This view should be really like this. There is something which is not really right. If you see here, that's how it should be. That's how it should be actually. I don't know why I don't get that waterfall. I can see that they belong to the same correlation ID, the same operation ID. I can see that. But for some reason, here's where it is. So okay. So guys, I hope that at least the fundamental is clear. Definitely this is not the view I wanted to show you. The view which I wanted to show you was this actually, where all of this comes, this makes a call. Actually, I given the link into this, into the thing. I know here he made an API call. So I'm not sure, like I did a server.transfer to just make it very quick. Must be it is not so good. Must be when you make an API call, because even server.transfer, it's like a get call, isn't it? Like, so it's a get call, so it should not be a problem. And I know that it works because this is not the first time I'm showing this demo, but I should have seen here plus app one plus inside that app two. Did I miss anything? Just give me 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes. Let me search. Must be I just messed with something. 952. No. Wow. Okay. Okay, guys. So, but I hope that the demo was understandable. I'm sorry that something is not really right out there, guys. Something is not. Yes, yeah. So I already did that. So I already did that in my code. In my code, when he went to the second home controller, I extracted that ID. Look at this. I did that. It's not that I did not do it. Because you know that I extracted this ID, that's why the operation ID is same. Or else even the operation ID won't have been same, right, guys? So here I extracted the ID. I set it to this current activity. I said that this ID is your parent, you know, and then I ended this activity, but I'm not sure what happened there. Okay. Okay, guys. So that's the end of this session. But I'm sorry for the demo. Let me see what went wrong out there. But I hope that at least the fundamentals are clear about application inside. You have understood telemetry, and you know that point. You know what someone made out there was really right. That we understood the basic telemetry, but we did not understand the correlation. So today's thing was a repeat of the first session. Not repeat really. The first 20% was same, but the other ones the other 80% about the connection, etc. We need to understand these points like operation ID and ID. Okay, there is a question here. Yes, go ahead. Any questions? We are already like 9. Parent ID and this and this. Okay, so here it is. If you go to any one of these URLs, here is the explanation. Let me just show you. You can see this one also. This one is a nice document, and very quickly. So here it is. Operation ID, this represent the whole logical operation. ID, these are the unique identifiers for the individual elements. And parent ID among the telemetry, means inside the same telemetry if it is, right? So operation ID, whole logical operation like the hierarchy which is there, right? And this. And if you see here, like even if you read at any document which is online, if you see any document which is online, how to enable really the telemetry ID, it is like this. You just set the operation ID, that's it. You can see in this document also it is mentioned the same. You can also go and look at the documents of the Microsoft which they have given. Both the links I've pasted. There also he has mentioned the same. Only thing what you need to understand is if you're doing MVC core, then the way to get the ID is different. If you are doing a background service like web role or a worker role or a queue, for example, look at this. This is a queue. If somebody makes a call to the queue, then the way to get the ID is different. Then you have to use something like this, right? Operation.telemetry ID. So you have to there you have to use and say start operation and so on. So you will find that to get that ID, for example, look at this. This is I think through a message process. So through a process must be I will use something like root ID and parent ID. I will pass it through in memory. Look at Azure storage queue. So they are given examples for everything, but at the end of the day, it is operation ID and telemetry ID. Operation ID and telemetry ID, right? So go through both of the documents. So thank you very much, guys. Okay, Sandeep, then. Yes, that's what I was trying. Yes, that's what I was trying, Viras. I was trying to combine both the application inside and do it. Okay, Sandeep, sorry if I missed that. Both IDs are same. Oh, is it both IDs? Both the operation IDs should be same. Even the IDs are the same. I need to check. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks.